This is exciting news. I'm now part of Netflix's Reality Watch Club. So I will be exclusively viewing the newest unscripted Netflix shows. So the first one up is The Ultimatum.
Okay.
It is from the creators of Love is Blind, so you know it's going to be salacious and juicy.
Yeah.
And it's also hosted by Nick and Vanessa Lachey.
They love those hosts.
They sure do, obviously.
What's the So, wait. I think I was contacted for this show.
You were contacted for The Ultimatum?
Pretty sure I was. All right. What episode is this? Episode 9?
Niner.
We're almost to 10. How exciting.
It's so exciting.
So what have you been up to this week?
Oh my gosh. We went on an anniversary trip this weekend, and we got our engagement pictures, which was quite the debacle. It's
Why?
like I planned so much for it and spent an arm and a leg on different outfits and shoes and accessories, and didn't wear, I wore one pair of shoes the entire time. I wore dresses that I had already had in my closet, nothing new. And it was just crazy. At the last minute, my makeup artist came. He didn't have eyelash glue, so I went without eyelashes, which is really a big part of the picture. So I'm really hoping that my face looks kind of Symmetrical. That's the word I was looking for, because we also did big eyebrows, so I have no idea.
So he didn't have eyebrow or eyelash glue?
No, he didn't have it. Bless his heart. He was kind of running in at the last minute, and these makeup artists come in with this giant suitcase full of things, and he doesn't just have one glue. He has like 300.
Yeah.
So he had a sweet partner there, and he was running back and forth to the car trying to figure out if they could find it. But they couldn't.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
I'm obviously a newbie to the LA area, and we were supposed to be getting our pictures taken at the Griffith Observatory.
Okay.
But I had us at the Getty Museum.
Quite the
20
difference.
minutes late already. And my fiance, being the rule breaker that he is, which I'm not a rule breaker, I'm definitely a rule follower. We pull in, and the first security guard was like, "Why are you here?" And I'm calling my supervisor, "Stop right now." And Ben just floors our car. And we get to the next girl, and the guy who originally took us in was radioing to the girl who we were now at. And he's like, "They're on the loose. Stop them."
Are you supposed to have an appointment? I'm
"What
so confused.
in the world?" Yeah. And they're like, "You're not on our list. You're breaking and entering."
Oh, wow.
And we're on the phone with our photographer. And lo and behold, we said, "We're supposed to be at the observatory." And the woman says, "Well, you're 30 minutes from the Griffith Observatory. You're at the Getty Museum." And I was so embarrassed. I have all these people waiting at the Griffith Observatory for us. We're at the Getty, 30 minutes away. We're already 20 minutes late. And I was so embarrassed. I was so mad at myself.
How does one mix those two up?
I mean, they both start with a G, and I'm just an LA newbie. But I didn't get super stressed out. I was really proud of myself. I just was kind of rolling with it. And our sweet photographer and videographer were so chill. And they're like, "Just get over here. The light's going to be what it is, and we're going to make the most of it." And they were really cool. So it worked out really well in the end. But it was, just quite crazy, as always. Anytime you plan for something,
it doesn't go the right way.
Exactly. How was your weekend, Ash?
My weekend was good. What did I do this weekend? I feel like whenever we talk about this, I have to go back in my notes and my phone and my photos to see what I did. It was a good weekend. No anniversary trips here. Last week, my wedding invitations went out, and so that was a big task off my back.
Received
finally.
mine. It's beautiful. You did a great job.
Oh, I was so happy to get those out. But it's so funny. I was at the post office mailing them, and the postal worker, I gave them to her, and she was like, "I just want to let you know, none of this matters." She's like, "I just want to let you know."
Like, what do you mean none of this matters?
Like, none of this matters. Like, this wedding doesn't matter. Like, this. And it was like, I understood what she was trying to say, but like, when you're already stressed about how much you're spending on invites and like wedding, you're like, "I know, but could you just hold it, please?"
Was she trying to be sweet?
No.
take the pressure off of you, or was she just being a jerk?
It wasn't sweet. No, it wasn't sweet. It was definitely like, just letting you know, like, she was like, my niece is getting married and she's stressed. I'm just like, whatever. Like, it was just like, I was like, I'm well aware, trust me, that like none of this matters. It's all like expensive mess. But in that moment, I didn't need to hear that. And then she was also like, and some of these might come back to your house because I put the return like our address in the back of the envelope. And she's like, some of these might get returned back to your house. So just a warning. Have a good day.
Aw, Ash. Those are the kind of conversations that are just can set you back when emotions are so high. And you're like, sorry, lady, the deposits are already in. There's no going back now.
Right. It's like, do you think I don't know this at this stage, especially? I'm just like,
Right.
okay. And obviously she was pretty jaded, like, and I know, and we know this, right? Like the invites don't matter and this doesn't matter. And it's just like, okay, well,
Right.
but when you're in the thick of it, like it matters.
But it's your special day and it's your stamp and you get to be really creative. So, I mean, that hurts a little bit.
Yeah, it was
know?
definitely like, okay, definitely
Why-
paid $700 for these invites, but okay.
Why is it that there's so much sensitivity around weddings?
What do you mean?
Because I never thought I would be a sensitive bride at all. And I already get it. Like, I totally get it. We went and looked at venues yesterday, and I fell in love with every single one we went to. And there are four.
Well, that's good. Just pick the cheapest one. That's actually really good.
Yeah, exactly. And I never thought I would have this problem because I'm so picky. And then my dad called me today and said that my grandma won't be able to make it just because, I mean, she's really healthy, but she has, her sight is starting to deteriorate
Yeah.
and she won't be able to make it out to.
It's a far trip.
It's a far trip for her, and it's trains, planes, and automobiles. So everything and all the magic that happened yesterday and just thinking about all these things, I can't even envision having a wedding without my grandma.
Really?
Can't.
Yeah.
Can't. And so now she's such a big part of my life,
Right.
and like not having her there, it's like,
Right.
does this wedding even make sense?
Right.
And so now of course, I was like really emotional about it. And now I'm just trying to figure out what makes sense. Do we want to maybe try and do something closer to home?
Sure.
Because it's that important. And I'm seeing now that this is such a sensitive thing. It's your big day and you want everyone that's been a huge part of your life to obviously be there.
And you know what? I'm curious because so many women got married over the past 2 years when they had to Zoom everyone in, right? And so I wonder if you would consider that as an option, or is it something where you want her to be like kind of with you physically?
It's interesting. I would want her to be there physically.
Yeah.
It's just really special to me. So now, I don't know. I have to talk to Ben and see what we're thinking. She's really special to him too.
Yeah.
So
and Chicago has beautiful places. I'm just saying.
I know. And sometimes like you think you want one thing and then somehow your mind can be changed pretty quickly. So
Yeah. Well, I definitely understand like wanting certain family members there who may not be in the best shape to travel, and and it's just hard to just get anywhere nowadays anyway. So
true.
just to hop on a plane and it's like the West Coast, so it's so far and there's so many like screenings and this, that, and the other. So I get it.
Exactly. And with the risk of getting sick, especially for elderly people and for immunocompromised people, which, I have several who are coming as well. So now it's interesting the way that things change very quickly. But it was
Like
was really
overnight.
cool to go look at venues. And now I understand how you kept kind of going back and forth and you were so torn. It's the hugest piece of the whole.
It's the biggest part of your
wedding
budget, really. I
puzzle.
think like in the
Right.
in the diagram, it's the biggest part of your budget. And there were places that I thought were really pretty. Like there was another hotel I was going to do, but then their cocktail hour was just very, and I was like, for how much money I'm spending, I'm kind of like, I don't want to just pick a place where, I really want everywhere to be pretty. And, you're spending so much money and it's such an investment. I don't know if people would say it's an
Exactly.
investment, but you're spending a lot of money. So you want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I get
absolutely.
that. I get that.
And
How was
there's
the
so many
anniversary
things that
trip
go
though?
into
It was to LA.
Oh,
Anything fun?
It was amazing. We rented a convertible and
Saw
kinda
that.
drove around LA. Found this really good cheeseburger spot.
What's the name of it?
It's called Hi Ho Cheeseburger. Delicious.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, most of our trip was running around getting ready for these photos.
Yeah.
And but it was beautiful. I'm so excited to see them.
Yay.
So,
That's
yeah.
exciting. How did you pick your photographer?
She came into my DMs actually,
Okay.
and she's just lovely. Actually, that's the name of her company, Lovely Light.
Oh.
She was lovely, and I've had photo shoots where it can be dragged out, and you're just not getting the right photos, et cetera, et cetera. But she was very quick and smooth and moved right through things, and
Good.
she was a lot of fun to hang out with. So we had a blast.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering if like you forgetting your eyelashes is actually a good thing, because I feel like you've had a couple of photo shoots where you didn't like the way you looked with certain makeup. So I'm almost like maybe this is a more natural look that you will appreciate.
I'm hoping so, but I also at the last minute, the thing that I didn't account for was my spray tan. And I ended up spending $200 on a spray tan at the last minute. Actually, it was probably $250 because the woman had to valet at our very expensive hotel as well.
How much do those usually run? I don't even know what's
$80 would be like a normal spray tan, but
pretty high.
I paid $200 at the last minute, and I got a really orange spray tan.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm sure the
hopefully-
editing will be fantastic on those pictures.
Yes, edit them up.
Edit them up. We look forward to getting them back. And I think it's just really cool that you've started planning, because it's been a few months and it's like you're kind of on the
Yeah.
train. And
It's exciting.
you're
I'm gonna need
excited.
all the advice.
I don't even have any to give you.
I know you're prepared at this point.
I don't have any to give you. I'm just like, oh gosh, 3 months out. I actually just sent the Tux information out this morning.
Fun.
And I was like, so sorry, guys. I know this is kind of a little bit late. We're at like 97, 96 days or something like that. And they're just, I mean, guys are just
That's
great
okay.
though. One of them already responded, was like, got it. And I'm like, it's just amazing, you know? So the Tux info went out, and I have to actually take my dress to alterations on Saturday. So that's the next step.
Okay. You're
But-
just getting it altered?
Just now. It's been
Okay.
like, I don't know, I guess 3 months out. I was hoping I'd be a Kate Moss. I'm just kidding. I was, you don't want to get it altered too early because you don't know if you're going to gain
Girl.
weight, lose weight, whatever. I'm just kidding about the Kate Moss thing, but I am like, all right, well, this is what it's going to look like in 3 months. So let me just go ahead and get this altered.
Well, what if you find a dress at the show next weekend? What if you found your ultimate dream dress at the show next weekend? Would you still swap
It's
it out?
so funny. No, because I really love my dress. I still haven't seen one where I was like, oh, I wish I would have got that one. And it's so funny because I went and picked my veil up this weekend because the veil came months after the dress. And the woman who owns the boutique, I was like, oh, she got this new one in and it was stunning. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, yes, it's brand new. It's amazing. And I was like, I still like mine though. So I think that's a good place
Your
to be
dress
in.
is so good.
It's a good place to be in because
so excited to see it.
I would be so bummed. I think that's what I was like concerned about, was buying it too early and then being like, I don't want this anymore.
Absolutely. Because
You
I'm
know?
I'm definitely thinking twice about mine.
Really?
And it's been 6 months since
Right.
I found it.
Right.
So
And you would have, I don't know. All
Did
right,
you
let's
pick
pivot.
your dress before your venue?
No, I had my venue first.
Okay. See, I think that's important.
Yeah, because you have to know, like, is it going to be in a ballroom? Going to be outside? Are you going to be on the beach? Are you going to, I'm not going to wear like
That's
a
his
huge
key.
dress on the beach. And yeah. But I hate to bore people who are not getting married. We don't want to be those girls. Promise we're not. So let's pivot into some pretty, it's not major news. I'm kidding. But some Instagram news. So from Love is Blind, Shake, I don't know his last name. Shake posted that he is moving to Miami and that he is leaving taking a break from his vet job. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, very interesting. What does Miami have besides nightclubs?
His girlfriends.
Oh, does she live there?
She lives there.
Oh, so that's kind of a
Yeah.
serious move.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Shake on Saturday.
Okay.
And it was a great conversation, and he seems just genuinely disappointed about his
Show.
cut on Love is Blind. I have to choose my words wisely. He seems pretty disappointed about that.
Really?
But he seems like he's in a good place. He's found a new
Jesus? I'm
relationship,
just kidding.
and he's moving out to Miami to be with her. And I know he has a DJ career as well. So it seems like he's, in a good place and looking to really move on from Love is Blind.
Really?
Very,
That's
very
so
quickly.
funny because if you look at his Instagram, I would think that he's trying to capitalize on it, like with his new podcast and like kind of playing into the whole. I mean, did he say like how is he doing? Are his feelings hurt, or does he feel like he has to put on this tough guy persona for Instagram, or what?
He's doing good. I think he's really disappointed at how his castmates, he said they were great friends. They were all kind of hanging out the week of the reunion, and then they all kind of flipped on him. And at the reunion, he was really disappointed and hurt that everyone kind of came for him when they could have done it off
So they were
camera.
hanging out before the reunion, like in LA?
Yeah, in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago. And was it just at the reunion that they...
Yeah, they all kind of were conspiring, I guess, against him. So that's tough. That's a tough break. And who knows what the other side is as well. But very disappointing.
I'm wondering why... I'm turning this light off. I feel like this is... I'm wondering why he is leaving his veterinarian job, because I feel like that's a great career. And like, you're going to be a DJ in Miami?
I'm not sure, but I do know that there actually a lot of mental health issues related to veterinarians. Did you know that? Yeah, and we were kind of talking a bit about that.
Really?
So yeah, I'm not sure why, but I do think that there's a lot of pressure obviously in that career, and maybe he's just taking a step back because obviously being in the limelight from Love is Blind is pretty tough. So that's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, I peeped his Instagram again, I think this morning, and I was just like, whew, the comments are not letting up. They're still so bad. They're so bad.
Well, and people that are commenting on Instagram are not your everyday people that, we're talking to. These are a lot of them are bots.
Yeah, that's true. I don't even think about that.
So
That's true.
I kind of reminded him of that.
And so this girl is new?
Yes. So the girl is new. I don't know how long they've been together. You have to remember that Love is Blind season 2 wrapped probably 8 or 9 months ago. So they may have been dating for a little while and they were just able to become public. But I didn't ask a lot of questions about that. But he does seem really happy.
Well, that's good. Well,
With
we
her.
want him to be happy with her. It's just bizarre. The whole thing is so bizarre. But I bet his feelings are really hurt if he mentioned his castmates not talking to him.
I think the public perception is less of an issue for him. It seemed like it was just kind of a shock how his castmates responded. And I would say I had that similar experience. I felt there were some castmates I had a pretty decent relationship with, and then they saw the cut and wanted to distance themselves. I remember specifically at the reunion, one person who shall remain nameless
Okay.
took me when made sure no one was watching, and took me to the side and kind of gave me one of these.
A quick hug.
Hey girl, I'm so proud of you. Just want you to know that. And it just kind of walked. I was just like, what just happened? It is quite wild to see people step into the light, man.
Do you think that people feel like, okay, other cast members, like, I don't want to align myself with this guy because I'm trying to make some money off this. I'm trying to
This is
that,
their
and the other.
livelihood. Absolutely. And also you find yourself in the public eye, and it's very tough to know what are the right moves, what are the repercussions of aligning myself with this person.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It is
reality.
sad.
It's a sad reality.
It's sad.
Hollywood. It's very Hollywood.
I'm cracking up that someone pulled you aside and was like, love you.
And it's funny because me, I don't realize these things until later. And I'm going, okay, that was a really weird move, but okay.
it's just whatever. And just kind of like pivoting from what we're talking about, like the reality stars. I know I sent you an article over the weekend that was actually on CNN, and it was about reality stars trying to become and stay sober on television. And the first line in this article is, alcohol has always been a central character on reality TV. And the whole article is about reality stars who basically turn to alcohol in every moment, or those who tried to stay sober on reality shows. So like, obviously you could probably speak to how much alcohol is involved or like provided on these shows. I think everyone noticed the gold like goblin cups from this season of Love is Blind, right?
Yeah, alcohol is a huge part of it. And I think my second season cast members probably learned from me, and at setting that example, that you can really fall victim to being very embarrassed on global television if you indulge too much. It's really interesting, like on Real Housewives, I feel like it's almost the drinking is glorified in a way. Like if you look at Trace Amigas and whoop it up, whoop, whoop, and they're having so much fun and it's very glorified. And on Netflix's Love is Blind, it was very much kind of
encouraged
and very negative portrayal with the drinking. So I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, I mean, there was a bathtub full of airplane bottles behind the scenes of the taping of Love is Blind. So there was alcohol everywhere we went. And for
free, right?
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I do have social anxiety, and that's where I would drink too much. If I had water in my hand, I'd probably just be going to the bathroom every 5 minutes. I'd be drinking so much because it's a nervous tick.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who ever drinks alone, you know?
Right.
So it's interesting. It's not, it's like an interesting correlation between the reason for the drunkenness, if you will.
Bronwyn, I'm looking at this article down here. She says Bronwyn says, while producers don't force you to drink, alcoholic beverages were readily available, and that sometimes during scenes, cast members were discouraged from eating, which is nuts. Like, and she's like, they ask you before you go on a trip, what kind do you like? They get to know what your favorites are. She said, I drank so much that they had to go get more. I don't know where it came from, but it appeared.
Wow. That's
no one can
wild.
stop me from eating.
Absolutely. Well, when your cast members, like Lisa Rinna, are saying that they have one
bread.
cheeseburger per year,
hot dog.
I
She
would
loves
be
a hot dog.
feeling
Yeah.
I couldn't fit in with that crew for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really, really sad when someone really is struggling with alcoholism and is put in that environment. You know, I can't imagine there isn't going to be an issue there. So there are some networks like ABC that have rules around how much alcohol you can consume. Like
Okay.
I think The Bachelor, they can only consume up to 2 or 3 drinks per night.
They're like 2 or 3 bottles.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And there are no rules.
But you've said before, like if
fine.
you could redo season 1, you've always said like that's one thing I would have laid off a little bit. I think you're in
absolutely.
such a weird situation that you're just like, I mean, I think I would be the same. Like you're in a weird situation. You're engaged to some guy you don't know. You're in Mexico. Like hand me the margarita.
Absolutely. And I mean, on Saturday, someone had sent me this terrible meme, and it's very sobering. No pun intended. I know we're on this subject. It's very freaking sobering because someone sent me this image and I'm like, I cannot believe this is out there for the world to see.
Is it of you?
Of me in that moment, And it's so embarrassing, you know? So if anyone is to go on a reality show, it's highly encouraged. You just don't drink at all, like, period.
I'm also wondering, and I would love your take on this, because we always see girls so sloppy, and we have to believe that the guys are getting just as messy, but we just don't see it. Like, I don't want to be like it's a sexism thing. I don't want to put that hat on, but like, you know what I mean? Why do we always see the girls all messy and sloppy, and they're pulling each other's hair, and and it's like the guys are drinking too, and probably more.
Oh, exactly. Well, I think, again, in those situations, I think women might be more vulnerable to over drinking because of
Hmm.
anxiety and things like that. And also, a lot of us aren't used to drinking that amount. And, you get in a bit over your head after a few of those airplane bottles.
Did
They all
you
start to
realize in
add
the
up.
moment, like, dang, we're all drinking a lot? Or were you just kind of like, oh, it's kind of like it's like a social thing and it's social for a few months. So it's like,
I didn't really notice in the moment. I was on
yeah,
vacation. I hadn't taken that long of a vacation in a long time. So I was just one, trying to have fun. Then two, life really got in the way when Peyton got sick. And,
yeah.
I knew I was going to have a bad portrayal. And,
You're like, at that point,
I had forgotten all about the cameras essentially.
yeah, which they
But
probably
yeah,
loved.
oh, they loved it.
They
They
loved
loved
it,
it. I
right?
mean, they got a good show out of it.
Yeah. Interesting. And then it's like, I
Still
don't
waiting
know.
on my royalties.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm thinking of this season. I think I don't know. That question about the gold cups came up so much. People were like, "Why are they in gold cups? Like, what's the deal with the goblin glasses?" Like,
I think it was a really random thing. It was actually my producer that found them.
really?
It was a random thing. I don't think it had anything to do with they
Nothing
didn't want
significant?
alcohol to be shown or anything like that. It was just a random thing that caught on.
She's just like, "I'm at the dollar store. These look cute."
That's pretty much exactly the story.
And
That's
everyone's
pretty
like,
much it.
"I would love one."
Oh, I'll give you one. I
Really?
have several at our house. Yeah.
Oh, I would love one. I feel
Yeah,
like
no
they should
problem.
sell those because they could make some good money. I mean, it's probably not
Oh, for sure.
trademarked by Netflix, but
Yeah. We were handing them out at a recent event, so I have a bunch.
oh, that is so
I'll
funny.
hook you up.
All right, so pivoting to our next topic, which is still reality television. Megan King, who is of Real Housewives of, was she Orange County or Beverly Hills? She was Orange County.
Orange County.
She just married President Biden's nephew not long ago, then got an annulment or a divorce like 30 days later or something crazy. She came out and she was like, look, I am just a love addict. Like, I just love being in love. And I was thinking, like, have you ever been in a relationship where you just want to be with somebody? Like, you just want to be with somebody. And so you're like, this is what it is. Like, I might not love you as much, but I just like love the feeling and I just love being in love.
Yes. I mean, I have fallen victim to that so many times.
So many
and
times.
I've stayed because of it. You know?
Yeah. Or like not wanting to be lonely for the holidays or something like that.
Oh,
So many girls do
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. And I feel for her because I think she got in over her head in that marriage, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It was very quick. What did it
was
last a couple
super
months
quick.
maybe?
Met on an app.
Okay.
Super quick whirlwind, which I feel like there's nothing terribly wrong with whirlwind because if it works, it works. And like, I feel like none of us are the experts on this topic, like nobody ever anywhere,
Yeah.
because the divorce rate in this country is like over 50%. So it's just like, spare me. But it did seem like, I don't know, like maybe she didn't consider all considerations before moving forward with
Absolutely.
this, right? And we were all
Absolutely.
shocked. We were like, "Wait, Biden's going to her wedding? Who is this guy?" Like,
Yeah. I was so excited for her. I was devastated when I heard that it didn't work out because
Yeah.
we love Megan King Edmonds, Ash and I do, and she has been supportive of me,
Yeah.
which was really cool. But I have to say, it is being engaged is the fairy tale, especially if it's a whirlwind in 2 months and you're so into this person and it's really exciting. But think about if you sit down with a counselor and start talking about parenting styles and financial issues and past traumas and really start laying out all of the things that equate to a successful marriage. It's pretty sobering. I think most people would take the first scenario and forget about all that stuff that are the reasons that a marriage either works
forget
or
about the
doesn't
foundation.
work. Forget about the foundation. Like, this is so fun. I'm in love.
Yeah.
And there's also the element of when you meet someone, you are imagining the best things about them. You're learning the best things about them because they're putting their best self forward too, right?
Okay.
It's not until maybe a little later down the road that you learn about all the skeletons in the closet.
The worst things about them.
So you really set yourself up for, potential heartache by doing that.
I wonder if you fall
I think-
like harder, like you hurt harder after that, or if it's just like, well, I guess I didn't really know him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go either way. I think it's important to ask the tough questions up front.
I'm trying
And
to think.
do you think she did that?
Look, if I'm dating the president's nephew, I don't know how hard I would go on them.
Right.
Just like, this is so cool.
It's true.
People probably
Yeah.
think I'm an idiot, but I mean, really, like you might be blinded by not just like wanting to be in love, but also like, how cool is that? Like, will you ever have an opportunity like that again?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Like the president's coming to my wedding. Okay, I'll have a wedding just for that.
I mean, yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool, but I'm sure she would go back because imagine the president attended your wedding and now you're getting an annulment 2 months later and he spent his time coming to the wedding.
That's what everyone's
like,
saying too. Everyone's like, so he
Yeah.
took a day out of his like busy pants dropping schedule and went to your wedding and but also it's not just her fault. Like there are two people in this relationship. So what did he do wrong?
Right. Well, and 2 months is really quick for one person in the relationship having 3 children and the other being
Right.
childless. It takes a
Right.
really long time to figure out the mix of having kids and
Right.
parenting styles and what your relationship is with the kids. Especially, I know she has a tumultuous relationship with her ex-husband, Jim. So I'm sure that
He's the
didn't
I don't
help.
know him, so you can't say he's the worst, but just from what we've seen on the show and what we've seen online, I'm like,
I think he's a monster.
I just like, you don't treat women like that, and especially your children's mother. So yeah, I wish her all the
terrible.
best, but I just thought, she's at least admitting to like, look, I like being in relationships. And we all know girls like that who like being in relationships, who can't be single, who always have to have a guy. And you're just like, you need to just work on yourself for a second or just like take a beat. Like,
Absolutely. I've had a lot of conversations with Ben about being a single parent, and I think she could fall victim to just feeling really alone in that.
absolutely. That's a hard job. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And then you're home on the weekends with the kids and you're one person. So you're really searching for someone to share that life with.
Yeah.
And
So
maybe
Megan
that's what
said
happened.
she was she's been married 3 times. The first one was when she was 22, and I was cracking up because she was like, "Yeah, that one didn't count." She was like, I was so young.
Right. Okay.
Can you imagine like who you were dating at 21, 22?
Oof. Actually, I did think I was going to marry that person. But
Oh no.
then he was cheating.
I was gonna say cheater, pumpkin eater.
Yeah, he cheated. That was too bad.
That was too bad. But she's like, I love falling in love. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's hard though when you do have kids involved because they're like, here goes mommy again, or here goes daddy again with this new girl, and your kids want you to be
Right.
happy, but it's also like you're involving them too. So
Yeah, you have to be a bit more cautious when you have kids in the mix.
and
So-
kids call
I
things
feel
like
for
they
her,
see it. I do
though.
too. She'll
You
find
just want someone
somebody.
to come rescue you and have this happy family, and especially probably seeing her ex being happy with
Moving on.
Well, the person they had a threesome with. It sounds like
Moving
That's
on
probably
in the
really
house
hard.
that she was building, and then the new
Oh.
girl comes and lives in the house that you were building. Oh my gosh, I would never
I'm
get
so
over
ready
it.
for Megan King Edmonds to win.
She will.
I'm
She
rooting
has
for
though.
her.
She like she
She's
has.
killing it.
She's gonna be okay.
Absolutely.
There are worse things in life. So what are you watching?
Oh, so this is exciting news. I'm now part of Netflix's Reality Watch Club. So I will be exclusively viewing the newest unscripted Netflix shows. So the first one up is The Ultimatum.
Okay.
It is from the creators of Love is Blind. So you know it's going to be salacious and juicy.
Yeah.
And it's also hosted by Nick and Vanessa Lachey.
They love those hosts.
They sure do, obviously.
What's the So wait. I think I was contacted for this show.
You were contacted for The Ultimatum?
Pretty sure I was. Because when I saw
Ooh.
that preview, I was like, wait. Because, me and Gary have been dating since the 1800s. And somebody...
It's been a minute.
And I also feel like after Jezebel, I was just getting all of these... And it was even after Love is Blind, just all of these castings and like, you know what I mean? After being in that magazine. So, yeah, they were like, are you guys going to get married? Like there's this new show out, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, we could never be on a reality show together. But yeah, maybe I should pull up the receipts and show y'all.
I'm so glad that you decided not to do that. This one's going to get messy.
Never do that.
This is the ultimatum dares to ask this question. Marry or move on?
That's a fair question.
And how many people find themselves in this situation?
Everyone.
Where one of the people is ready to get married, the other is having reservations. So there's 6 couples who are approaching marriage. One person feels more ready to pop the question than the other. In response, someone issued an ultimatum. Now the contestants have the opportunity to select a new potential partner from one of the other couples.
That is so interesting because I don't even know. I could never do these shows. That's the thing.
Oh, it's terrible. And then they give them 8 weeks to decide if they will get married to their original partner or break up forever.
After they've already probably cheated on them.
Why would you sign up for this?
Well, I will say it's a fair question, right? Like maybe you don't need to do this on a reality show, but look, everybody wants to be in a reality show and I get it. But it's a fair question to ask, like, should we get married or should we move on? Because I think like we were just discussing, some people stay in relationships for the wrong reasons, for too long. Mm-hmm. They don't really know the person they're with. So introducing somebody else, I don't want to say it's not a bad idea, but I don't know. I wouldn't do any of this on TV. This is so bad. This is going to be awful.
This is going to be so awful. And I'm going to be watching this. So
when are we going to get your hot take? Like, is it going to be on Instagram or what?
It's going to be on Instagram. I'm going to go live.
Okay.
And just kind of talk about it. And I'm also going to talk about it on the pod next week.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
For my hot takes. It comes out in 2 days.
No way already?
So I'm going to try to watch beforehand just because I can.
I wonder if...
It's kind of cool to have that access.
Yeah. I wonder if the couples are... Can you imagine the ones who did not get married? They're probably so mad at each other and the show's about to come out and...
Oof. It's going to be difficult to watch, I'm sure. Another difficult to watch.
They've got the drinks there. No.
Oh, yes. I'm sure. Speaking of drinking too much on a reality show, I'm sure there's going to be many alcoholic beverages.
That is a really good idea, though. Like, it's a good idea for a reality show, right? Like, it's
a great idea. It really is.
This concept of introducing a new, like, fling where you know...
That never ends well. That's the part that I'm like, why would you sign up for this? Introducing a new person, that's so heartbreaking. You've been with someone for a long time and you just want to marry them and then you're going to see them with someone else. In what world does that work out?
In Netflix's world. Netflix is like, this sounds really good.
At least you'll get famous and you can promote your FabFitFun box. You might have a broken heart.
But like fame in what way though? Because look at Shake right now, who's going through so much. Like, yeah, he's got a level of notoriety. However, I wonder if he questions like, shouldn't have done that on the show. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't, you know.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just rolling the dice.
It is. It is rolling the dice.
You better hope those dice, land in your favor.
Totally. Better make friends with the producer.
People. Let's say lots of prayers for these people.
So I'm so looking forward to that, and I will be watching that very shortly. I watched Dopesick, like I binged that on Hulu. Okay. And I think it's an older show, maybe a few years old. I don't even know, but it's about Purdue Pharma and just how they pushed OxyContin in the late 90s, early 2000s, and just like how Oxy kind of took over the country and made so many people addicts. And it was so fascinating and really good. And I'd heard, a little bit about the Sackler family who was behind Purdue Pharma. But then I kind of just went into this deep dive after watching the show. And I was like on YouTube, like watching all of these like these documentaries about people who live in West Virginia and like they're older, like 10 years, people who live in West Virginia where opioids have just taken over. And like, I don't know, I just did like a really deep dive into that subject and I was just fascinated. And I was like, it's almost like shame on all of us. Right. And like, it's just, it was killing more people than heroin and
oh my gosh,
and cocaine and all of this. And so that's what I have been watching all week and somehow got into looking up coal miners because a lot of them got hooked on it a while ago.
Oh, wow.
And so now I know a lot about coal mining and I don't know. I just like to learn sometimes and that's kind of where I've been all week. So thank you to Dopesick for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. And it's such a devastating epidemic.
It is.
That has hit close to home a few times. And it's interesting too, just kind of on that subject, when Ben and I were driving back last night, we were listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and they were talking about pharmaceuticals in the US. Did you know that the US is only one of 2 countries that advertise pharmaceuticals?
Interesting.
The US and New Zealand.
Interesting. And it just drives me crazy because you've got all of these like billionaires. It's a billion-dollar company who just kind of get off scot-free, where we have like people who sold marijuana in prison for life. And it's just like, so there's so much injustice and there's so much shame in this. And it's, I don't know, I was just super fascinated by it, and just learning that like 70%, I think, of heroin addicts right now started on Oxy. And you're just like, it's just not cool. It's so unfair. And, you don't want to say it's a losing battle, but it's really hard to come back from. So
absolutely.
Hopefully next week I'll watch something a little more uplifting, yes. But that was really interesting.
Pretty light watch.
Yeah, no, it was so heavy. And then I was just like watching YouTube in bed, and I was like, oh my gosh. There's this really cute, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's a little documentary on YouTube. You have to watch it. I'm going to send it to you. It's called American Hollow. And it's not about dope or Oxy or anything like that. This was before that kind of took over. And it's just about this family in West Virginia. And they are so dirt poor, right? Like so poor. But it's such a heartwarming documentary because it's all about family and like all about like being proud of your roots. And I don't know, it's just like, I loved it. And then I went on their Facebook page, and they have like a fan Facebook page. And like, when I say deep dive, I'm talking about like, I went there. You were in it. I was in West Virginia, basically.
Okay. I want to watch that because that sounds like a feel good.
It's really cute, but you'll be like, okay, we take so much for granted.
Oh, okay. Like, I like that. I like it insightful.
We do. We take so much for granted, and it's like these people have nothing, and it's like we have the same problems, and I don't know. It's really interesting. So there was me. I'm trying to think if I watched anything else this week.
Did you watch The Girl from Plainville?
I can't watch that. I don't think I can watch that because I don't like using the word hate, but I really don't like that girl, and I really don't like that story. That story is horrific. And it's like kind of triggering too. Like, it's like, how can somebody do that? I mean, I remember when that came out, and I think she might be out of jail now. She's out of jail? I think so. I don't think she got a very long sentence.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no. I don't think she got a very long sentence though. Like I was following the news back in the day.
It's so interesting to me because obviously I know the story. I'm only halfway through the show, but obviously I know the story and the fact that she was indicted, and incenting her boyfriend to kill himself, right? It's so interesting to me that can be used in court, but there are people that log messages every single day through Instagram, through TikTok, through other social media platforms. Is iMessage that different? Is it? I would say no. I think
like
it's
people
all
telling people online to kill yourself.
Yes, it happens every day, all the time.
I will not defend that girl. I just can't. Like, I think I understand what you're saying, and I really appreciate your perspective because it's almost like a free speech type of thing, right? Like, but she knew he had a problem, and as I recall, she was like, "No, you need to get back in that garage. You need to get back in there. You need to." And she was just egging it on, and just like, "You need to do it." And she was playing into that vulnerability that he had. And he was just like, okay. I haven't gotten
to that part yet.
That was just the news stories. I haven't watched it. But okay. I just remember it was very like aggressive and targeted. And you can be charged with harassment for doing that to someone online. You could harass somebody and the cops come get you.
I think in the state of California, there has to be damages of $50,000 plus in order to take someone to court.
Oh, and how would you prove damages that high?
An internet communication.
Interesting.
Exactly. So,
like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, if you go out to the website, it specifically lays out, $50,000 and above, and you have to be able to prove the damages done.
It's tricky, right? Because it's like people are like, well, he did it. It's the same with drug dealers. A lot of people are like, they took the drugs. No one put a gun to their head. Should we hold the drug dealers responsible? Should we hold, the harassers and the bulliers responsible? I think bullying's out of control, and I think we're in a world in 2022, obviously, that we've never been in before. There's technology and there's all of this at our fingertips, and I just don't think you should be allowed to go online and tell someone to go kill themselves and tell somebody,
right?
Like, I would even go a step further with like racism and just, I don't know. I think you should be held accountable. I don't know if that's charges, but maybe you're banned from the platform, or I don't know. Maybe Apple says you can't have an iPhone,
Something has to be put in place across the board. And I know, it's a federally regulated tool, but something has to be put in place to stop this, because suicide is a leading killer of people at this point. And someone has to be held accountable. That's just
maybe I will watch that show.
Opinion. Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
I will.
Yeah, I know it's absolutely triggering, and I really haven't gotten to some of those parts that you were alluding to yet. But I think just being aware.
I know. I do agree. I do agree, and I hope she made no money off of it. And I hope.
Oh, seriously. I can't believe she's about to get out of jail. I didn't know.
So I think she might already be out.
Yeah.
We know people are over this topic. I'm so over this topic, but I do want to hear your hot take about Will Smith.
I wasn't sure if it was scripted or not as we were watching. And I couldn't believe the Will Smith that I know, the image of him that I have in my mind was just totally blown out of the water when he did this. Chris Rock, because Chris Rock is one of my personal idols. I saw him at the Rosemont in Chicago several years ago, and I still to this day think it was one of the best performances of any kind, including sporting events, I've ever seen. It was just brilliant, and I love him so much.
He is brilliant.
And Will Smith doing that was, horrific in my opinion, and it just changed my image of him in a split second. I do have to say, he redeemed himself when he went up and intercepted. Well, when he got his award, I was just really confused. I'm like, he's still there. No one's escorting him out, and he just got this award. And I'm just like looking around, like, is this real? What is happening? But when he said that public figures are made to be humiliated for other people's enjoyment, entertainment, it definitely struck a chord with me, because that is the experience that public figures have. And I can't imagine someone like Will Smith, who's been in the public eye for so long, is fed up with it. And
yeah, he's had a rough, obviously, year with Jada and all of their business being out in these streets.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot more to unpack. There's even history with Chris Rock and Jada.
You could tell he was hurt. That was my thing. You could tell he was hurting. He was like bawling when he got his award, which I'm always skeptical when actors cry, because they can cry in demand. But you could tell it was genuine. But, I felt like, I am not going to cancel Will Smith. I'm like, this guy has done so much good and is such a beacon of positivity. Obviously, he shouldn't have assaulted someone on live television at the Oscars. But it's like your biggest mistake being televised to the world, right? And I think that he's done so much good. And I also think people are such hypocrites. We watch reality shows for fights and for drunkenness and for pulling my hair and all this because it's entertaining, right? But
yeah,
the day someone actually does this, which I mean, it's real life too, we're like, this is absurd. It's like you've been watching Housewives for 8 years.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I am not excusing it. I'm not saying what he did is right. I'm just not going to cancel him for it. And I feel like his movie's like on pause. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Harvey Weinstein has 81 Oscars or something like that. He's a pedophile, a rapist. He's in jail. And have they taken his Oscars away? Like, it's kind of like, okay, this was the biggest mistake he's ever made. Biggest mistake he's ever made. And unfortunately, it was in front of the world. Yeah.
It's a really good point. I think my viewpoint is a bit skewed because I love Chris Rock so much.
I know.
Like, what? He just hit him. Like, what?
He was shocked. You could tell he was just, I mean, even when he gave Questlove the award, like, you could tell he was just like,
it's like, what do you say?
What would you do?
He was even quick on his feet.
I know.
I have to commend him.
He's a true professional. And
That's a good, I really appreciate your perspective on that because, I mean, it's very valid.
Well, I just think everyone's a hypocrite, right? Like everyone enjoys that kind of thing when it's reality television or, you know, even if it's scripted. I know scripted is totally different, obviously. But, you know, this actually happens in real life. Like people do get hit and your favorite reality stars have probably hit somebody. Have you canceled them yet?
It's true. I think it's astonishing to people because people want to know so bad, you know, especially actors who are big celebrities. They want to know, are these people really nice? Or how are they in real life? And then to see that, it's people make these snap judgments.
Yeah, people are like, take away his Oscar. I'm like, no, we're not taking away his Oscar. Like, he apologized. And really, this is between him and Chris and not me and not, you know, anybody else. And I hope that he's sincerely apologized to Chris.
And
but I mean, what else can you say?
I think that did happen, which P. Diddy came out and said, don't worry, guys. They have squashed this. They made up. We're like, okay, P. Diddy. Thanks. Like,
Diddy.
what? Kind of random. But it was, I think it was obviously a much debated topic this week.
Oh my goodness. It was everywhere. And I'm just like, dude, the news stations, I'm like, nobody, like, stop posting it every 2 hours. Like,
I know.
No one's asking for this. It's like breaking news. He issues an apology. Breaking news. The Academy, he has stepped down. Breaking news. He like went to the bathroom. Like, give me a break.
I know. But is the Oscar actually voided?
I hope not, because I think he earned that.
Right.
We have to take away so many Oscars if we're going to play that game, dude.
That's a good point.
We got to take away a lot. So, you know, people have done much worse than, punch somebody. Yeah. I think people were just shocked.
Yeah.
As we all were. We were shocked.
Yeah,
we were like, I think everyone was like, was that fake? And, you know, and then the next day we're like, wait, that really happened.
They were saying that the joke, Chris Rock didn't even create the joke. He was just reading off the teleprompter.
That's interesting because I feel like
did you hear that?
No, I feel like comedians always do their own jokes, but
right,
that's
that's slippery. Read through it,
right? That's dangerous territory. I don't know about that. Just saying whatever's on the prompter. I
think the horse has been beat.
I do too. So. I'm like, let them live. They're both rich still. They're gonna be okay.
People will forget about it.
I agree. Well, it'll go down in Oscar history, but it has nothing to do with us. That's how I feel about it.
Until the next thing happens.
Thanks for joining us for episode 9 of the Unsettled podcast. We're broken records, but leave us reviews.
Leave us reviews, call us, and
call us
a voicemail with your unsettling topics, questions, whatever you want to say.
We want to take your questions and answer them unprofessionally.
We're all ears. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you next week.